Something that I repeatedly hear is people being surprised at how easy they find it to read. I hear this from university lecturers who often feel a bit anxious about setting their students an 800-page book to read. But on the whole, the students seem to read it with real interest and excitement. And I think this was my very first experience of reading the passages that Igor quoted in his transcripts. Grossman does just write very, very vividly about a huge number of things. And perhaps a good example, if we can just leave Life and Fate for a moment, is when I was working on the chapter From Everything Flows about the terror famine in Ukraine, I read a book by Robert Conquest, one of the first sort of serious historical works about the terror famine. And Robert Conquest quotes a great deal from Grossman, and also from about half a dozen other Ukrainian witnesses to the terror famine, who one way or another, as a result of the chaos of the Second World War, they ended up in the West and were able to write about it. And these memoirs and Grossman's text, they're in a way very, very similar. They're the same kind of pool of images, of horrendous images, appear in all of them. What happened was so awful that I think there was just no question of anyone wanting to exaggerate. It wouldn't really have been possible. So, reading Robert Conquest's book, he doesn't say on the page itself who a particular quote is from. You have to go to the endnotes to find who the author is. And I was reading this at a time when I'd barely begun work myself, and he's quoting obviously from an earlier translation of Everything Flows. So it wasn't a matter of my just kind of automatically being able to recognize things because I knew them. But I could just always guess which were the Grossman quotations. Somehow, even though they were more or less the same images, there was just some detail. He somehow always managed to pick exactly the right details to make a picture really, really vivid. So, back to Life and Fate. He does make one want to know what's happening, what happened to his characters.